Alright, so welcome today. We're going to learn how to just separate the React components into different components. Just separate the code stuff, right? So you know the app.js file, you know what it does. You don't need to care too much about this code right here. All it does is just makes different links, as if you had a bunch of different A tags in a normal HTML file, right? The only interesting part in here is the components equals home, right? Imagine if we didn't have this. If we didn't have this, what we'd have to do is go to the home component, which is right here, home.jsx. You need to copy all this. All this file. This JavaScript. Control C. Go back to the app.js file. And then inside, hello there, so that you have to paste all that code. It look ugly. You'd want to kill yourself after a while because of how bad it looks. Right? It just wouldn't be a fun time to work with this kind of stuff. And then when you get to more complicated stuff like card.jsx, ooh boy, now that's not gonna be a fun thing to It's not gonna be a fun thing to use. So that's why we use React components, just to separate the big stuff into smaller, more manageable stuff. It's like instead of putting a whole onion into a soup, you need to cut it first, if you get the drift. Right? Yeah, so how would we do this per se? Well, first off, this wouldn't be the best example because this is more static. Right now what I would do is just open up the club portfolio one, and this is a better example. It's all still JSX, don't need to worry about it. So imagine, hello there, Maxim.
Hello, how are you?
Good, and you?
Good.
Alright, so this takes a bit. So right now, this is the club's portfolio site that I prepared during the break, and you can see we got the Microsoft Education collaboration here, which is pretty nice. Anyways,
Wow. It's
mhm,
a really cool looking site.
yeah, I spent a bit of time on it, but that's not the important part here. Right now, this is all very compartmentalized code. We have this generates random typing function right here that we import, if you can see right here, from the components/typing tree folder. You can see here I've separated a bunch of different components. So the whole point of component-based React is to just separate everything up together to make it easier to work with in the later on, right? So here's the perfect example for this. Here, if you notice, when you refresh the page, the way it types is different each time. Well, it's random. It's not different each time. So you can see before you go all the way back to fix the error. Here, body, programming, well, it does the same thing twice. That's fine. Try this one more time. 3 times in a row, huh? 4th time the charm. Okay, that's...
I have a feeling your whole function is broken.
No, it's
Oh,
not
no.
broken. It's not broken, it's just random, which is... Well, it's random. So yeah, no, every time it's random, so it changes when it wants to. So imagine if we didn't have these different functions to split the code up, right? You wouldn't have the messed up typing 1, default typing, messed up typing 2, typing 3, and lead speak. What you'd have to do is make an if statement and chain all of these things into the big what was it, home.index.js right here. And you have to put all of those inside this little tag here to just generate the one thing we need it to do. I don't think that looks I wouldn't think that would look pretty, right? If we did that right now, what it would look like. In fact, it would look god awful, honestly. I don't even want to spend time trying to do that. But that's why we have these different components. It's just to split up different smaller stuff, right? In this case, where is it? In this case, the way the site is typing out the introduction into one big thing that React can take care of itself, right? Understand that part? So you might be asking yourself, well, how do I make the components, right? how do I use it? This is a little bit too complicated to use. This is a little bit too this works. This works as Flutter. So when you want to make a component, what you first want to do is to return a value, like in the normal index.js app.js file. You just return and then all your JSX here. Now here, so I didn't remember the code very well, but that's fine. Footer. Right. So you just prepare a div for the footer, and I'll just write down footer here for you guys to understand what I'm trying to do. Right. So you see down here we got the footer tag. Again, this is useful because imagine you had to go through contact.js, about.js, 44.js, underscore app.js, and index.js to change all the footer tags into footer. Here, you just need to change one file and it's taken care of. That's pretty nice. After that, it's just a question of choosing what you need to render, because when you use component, you get to choose where you render it from, right? So in this case, you export default, which means you just export the file into a different JavaScript, files that import it. In this case, it's just layout.jsx, another component that defines the layout for all the sites. Any questions up until now? Anything I didn't explain too well? Yeah, go ahead.
What's JSX?
Oh, it's basically the HTML inside React files, right? It just has the.
It's a special file for React.
You mean the extension? No, it's just easier for VS Code to recognize it as a React file if you just name it JSX. But it recognizes JavaScript as .js as JSX as well. Technically, the term JSX is just used for any of the HTML you find in a React code, right? So this is all JSX, but this stuff isn't. This is all JavaScript, the rest of it. Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't really matter with the VS Code. It's just better practice because some people don't use VS Code, and well, those people need to use a different editor than them. All right. So, any more questions up until now? You guys understand why you need to use components? Just to separate stuff up and make it more modular, more easier to use. Hello there, Sammy.
It was pretty clear.
Pretty clear. It's not too difficult. It's just splitting stuff up, like he defined functions inside a program. Right? But this time, instead of functions in a program, it's just functions in a website. It's the only different way to think about it. So yeah. That actually went by a lot faster than I thought it would. You guys still have your portfolio sites that you made?
Yeah.
Alright, well, in that case, could you try implementing a component into the site? Like, instead of making a navbar inside the HTML in app.js file, make a navbar component and just import it there. It shouldn't be too hard. It's just
Navbar is the thing that's in the top right.
Yep, the navbar, navigation bar. Yep, it's the stuff right up here that just helps you go to different pages.
So we add our own, or
Yeah, just if you I think maybe just add a footer then, because it's easier to implement. It's just add stuff to the bottom of the page.
Only problem.
Huh?
Okay.
Only problem is my internet just went out and I missed that entire thing.
That's fine. That's fine. Okay, I'll explain. I'll explain again. The rest of you guys need anything else? I'll go into the separate call for Maxim if you need it. Sammy?
I wasn't here. So
Oh yeah, that's true. I'll bring you too, Sammy. Anybody else?
Thank you.
A navbar? You want to do a navbar or a footer? You get to choose. A footer is the stuff that's all the way at the bottom of the page, right? So you can see on Reddit, this would be the footer. Use of this site, like it's all the little text at the bottom, always on the bottom. Here you also get here. You can just see that the footer is just the stuff on the bottom of the page. So yeah, just one last thing to get the understanding of how to import them, right? So at the top of the JavaScript of the JSX file, where you define your React code. You just want to import, give your code the name, give it the name. In this case, I could probably just call it, I don't know, IWG, IWG, and this would probably still work, I think. Yeah, no, okay, so you need to, yeah. So you need to, when you go to the export defaults, the name you put here is the name that you need to put into the import to get the file and get the variables inside it and whatnot. Is that, everybody understand that part? Did I explain well enough?
Yeah.
Alright, alright. So I'll bring Sammy and Maxim into a different call to explain how to use components in the React file. The rest of you, try to just implement a React component to your portfolio website that you've done already. Alright? Alright. Alrighty. Hello. Now let me just turn on my screen share and we should be good to go. Alright.
So basically, what we're doing is we're importing components.
Yes, importing components. You know how to use components, Sammy?
No, not really. But
that's-
just one.
Yes, of course. Of course.
Can these? You can only import these when you're in React. Is it so?
Yes, when you're in React, not in normal HTML. Right?
Okay.
Did that answer your question? I'll just guess
Yeah.
it did.
Yeah.
Alright, perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is another thing why React's great. You can just separate all the big stuff that you don't want to copy paste into other pages and just separate it and let the computer do it automatically for you. Alright, so here's the basic structure of a React component. First, you need to return the value you want to return, and then you just give it some HTML, the JSX that it needs to be done. So in this case, you would give it .footer, well, .font in this case. Right? Huh? Oh, sorry. If you use VS Code, you can just speed up the process of writing down classes with, let's say I wanted to do a dot test. Give me a with an href of this, that. It's just a neat little thing. It's not really something to take too care of. Yeah. So if you did like div dot, I don't know, what's the name of the class you want to give it? Footer or anything? I've already showed you footer, so that doesn't make sense. Let's image. Yeah, sure.
No,
So
no.
div.image, right? We just press that tab after writing this, and you get a div with the class name of image already done for you by the computer. Which I think is pretty nice. Yeah, it's pretty nice. So yeah, no. So yeah, and since people write divs so much, it's just shortened to dot. Div is the default when you do dots. So in this case, div.footer. And bam, you got a div with the class name of footer. After that,
Right.
yeah. And after that, once you're done with div class name footer, you can just write whatever code you want in here. You can write this is a footer. Yeah.
Do we have to write const footer and?
Yes. Sorry. So when you write a JavaScript JSX component, start off with const footer is the arrow function like I saw in the first lessons, and this is the variable name. This is the function name, right? Footer, with the capital F. React components also start with capital letters just so that React knows the difference between a footer and a function, because you can import functions too. So yeah.
And just when you say import image from
Next.js, that is also another component, but this was from another example for the portfolio sites. That
so that's not the footer.
No, this is a footer. It says right here.
But when you write import
Oh yeah,
image,
no, this isn't
that's not part of the code.
No, that's not part of the code. That's not part of the code. Don't worry. So yeah, no. Pardon me.
Oh, I would make my own components.
Yeah, you would make your own components, separate stuff, split stuff up, and then after that, you get a lot of it just makes it a lot easier to work with a bunch of other stuff.
why .jsx?
.jsx for this up here. That's just for editor reasons. It doesn't really matter. The computer understands .js and .jsx. My old editor Emacs understands .jsx better, and it creates .jsx files by default when I was making the project. So I just used them. It doesn't really matter too much. JSX
Should
is
I
just
use or no?
I don't know if it's a best practice or not. Just use it because it just specifies, okay, this is a React file, right? It does, your computer, the other programmers that you're gonna work with aren't gonna get confused with this. So if you ever have
Will
like,
I change my app.js to .jsx?
oh, sure, you can do that. Yeah, I can do that right now actually. Rename app.jsx. Yeah, so this should,
Okay.
for some stuff maybe you should probably just keep it the way it is for some stuff if it ever throws an error. But most of the time, rename.jsx really shouldn't be that big of a problem.
Mm-hmm.
There we go, and
Wait, my node modules folder is like 2 gigabytes.
yeah, Node does that sometimes, but you can just delete the project once you're done.
Okay.
Node, it really is something else, really. Because every dependency takes its own dependency, which takes its own dependency. It's very annoying, and it takes up a lot of space. So, if you don't want to deal with this kind of shit so often, you're kind of screwed, honestly. There's not really much you can do, but except complain.
So you would do, for each of your components, you would do like constant or
Hmm?
like an actual file.
Yeah, in each of your components, if you think that they're all logically separate from each other, like in this case with the typing.jsx, well, all these things they type, so it wouldn't make sense to just put them into their own separate files. It would just make a bit of a mess. So sometimes you can just write all these different components inside one file, and then just export them in one big component. Like in this case, generate random typing. Makes sense. The variable name is explaining itself. So, any other?
I'm still trying to figure out how to wrap my head around this.
You know how to write functions in? I know you know Java, right? So you know how you do object-oriented programming in Java?
Yeah.
Well, think about this like in terms of objects, right? So instead of having like a one big program object, you'd have the main object. You'd have the, I don't know what you guys use. I don't know what you guys use in Java, but instead of having like one big animal object that takes the value of every single animal, it uses a bunch of if cases for stuff like that. You'd have a dog object, you have the cat object, you have the bird object, stuff like that. Also,
I know that, but
you can think of it like that. You can think of it like that.
it's more like how does everything interact? Like the specifics. It's not the idea that I have the problem.
Oh yeah, the specifics. Well, what React does is just it just takes the code from that. It just takes the code and replaces it, really. So it's not really, doesn't really take that much to worry about.
Do you have this like on the Authy team thing?
The ATI what?
Authy programming club thing.
Uh,
I want to push that on my computer. Let's see.
oh, sorry, you cut out a bit.
Assuming the club, I'm
Oh.
assuming
The club hasn't been official. The club will only become official in the fall, unfortunately, which is weird because we were able to get Microsoft before we were able to get the school, right?
Yeah.
Still, we got Microsoft, which is a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, we got.
You deleted your Microsoft thing. At the
Oh
beginning.
yeah. That's just for the example. If I can just press U.
I
once
know.
you- right. Yep. And then yeah, so it just helps you make a bunch of quick changes. Let's look at that. Because I just used the footer component, now every page is back to normal with the footer.
Okay.
Right. With the normal footer.
I need to look more closely at this code. That's why I'm.
Oh, sorry. You want me to zoom?
Oh yeah, git clone.
Git clone.
Git clone.
Yeah. Yeah. No, if it was a little small.
It's fine. decoding.
Maxime.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So oh yeah, you guys are both named Maxime.
I know that's.
Just said yes at the same time. Anyway, so in React,
Yeah.
if you say div class name footer, it automatically recognizes it's a footer. So
Um,
is that right?
no, that's in as you mean like
Sorry, const footer.
oh, const. No, it's just a name. Const is just a name that I give to the component, a footer, right?
So it could
So-
be named const image, and the class name could be footer, and it'd still be a footer.
Yes, it could. Yes, you could call it image, but it wouldn't make sense structurally. You could do that, but it's not recommended.
Yeah, but just
Yeah, of course, of course. You can have a footer inside here even if it was called a foo bar baz, right?
Also,
People-
I noticed you used yarn. I don't.
It doesn't matter. Really, it doesn't matter. Yarn or npm, they both do the same thing. Yarn just I'd like it because that makes me type less. But you do you. Anybody can do what they want.
I'm still. Oh wait, no, I forgot to do npm install. Should I do yarn install or npm?
Well, it doesn't matter. It really does not matter. npm install and yarn install, they both do literally the exact same things. So you're gonna be fine no matter what.
I refuse to believe that it did that in 5 seconds.
Which one did you download?
The club workflow.
Oh yeah, no. The way that Next.js works. See, this isn't a React file. This is a Next.js file, which makes it a little bit different from React, but not too much. If you know the React syntax, you know Next.js basically. The way it works is just it uses a lot less stuff because it's all compiled onto the server. So what it does once you build a production site, it just makes a bunch of HTML files in a .build folder. So it doesn't really make the client side work. All it does is just turn the JSX into an HTML that you can use. If
I
you
just got an
Mm.
error.
what does it say?
Uh,
Oh yeah, if you want to start the development,
failed.
yeah, if you want to use the development server, it's npm run build for the club portfolio.
Oh.
Yeah, it's different syntax too, and you're gonna have
You
to
don't run a developer version?
you can run the developer version. That's includes
Oh.
undefined. Where's that called from?
How would you do that then? The
Uh,
developer version.
npm run dev npm space run space dev.
Wait,
uh,
so then what's npm start and npm run start?
It's just the different names of the starting scripts, right? So if you go to the
I love
package
the
that
code.
yeah, if you run the npm run, right? It just tells you to do just tells npm to do this command, npm next dev, right?
Okay. I started. Okay. It successfully started.
Yeah, so npm run dev.
npm run. The npm run start and npm start don't work for some reason.
Yeah, because npm start, that's for the production server. It's all different commands that you're gonna have to memorize after. You're just gonna have to look up. Don't even think about memorizing them because they vary from place to place.
My thing is
I-
showing and is showing something weird.
Oh yeah, sure. Let me take a look at that. Yeah, that is the elite. That's the 1 in a 20 chance that you got. You got on the first try. It's elite speak. It's a. It's lead speak. It's something that old computer dudes used in the old days. You could just refresh the page, it'll change.
Interesting. Cool. I got the 1 out of 20 chance on the first try.
Yeah.
Our members.
And here we got all the different members. A few.
I click.
Yeah, you can click it. You just
Oh.
didn't submit anything yet, but that's fine. You just need to. This is why we need
yeah.
everybody's form data for the
Yeah.
portfolio site.
I,
Don't worry. It doesn't take too much. It's
I submitted the form like recently. I
Oh.
don't want a photo. of myself.
you don't want a photo, that's fine. We're gonna get the white page here is just a default for now that we're gonna change
At
later
the
on.
moment, I'm fairly anonymous, like on the internet. Like if you were to search my name, like that, all you would find is this, which is something I did in 2016 for a school project. And I sound so like young.
Oh, that's nice. Different types of maps. Oh, that's fun.
Political map, political map.
Ah, yes.
sound- Believe it or not, I sound really young compared to
Yeah, well, that was in 2016. That was literally 5 years ago.
now. Well, I was what, 9, 10?
Yeah, probably 10.
Yeah.
So yeah, no. When you're doing this kind of stuff with React, just separating everything else will make it a lot easier in the long run.
Yeah.
You have any more questions about the components parts? You
I
just
do.
want... Yeah, go ahead, Sammy.
So I understand the code.
Do you under... Mm-hmm. Just
Yeah,
throw...
I understand it. Just this one part is the
Yep.
export default.
Oh yeah. Okay, sorry, I didn't explain that well enough for that. So export, right? It just tells the JavaScript that okay, this needs to be taken outside of the file because other files will use this, right? You're just exporting it, like you export to Candy or Meet or Goods and Service in IRL. Default,
Right.
what that means is that this is the one thing you need to export every time this file is called, right? That still makes sense. And in footer, that's the name. So what you want to do?
Yep.
So export default. So just export as the default thing will be footer. So every time this file is called, just export footer. You understand?
Yeah. So we just made so we just made a component, right? And it's named
Yep.
footer.
Yep.
So you did that in another file.
Yes, sir.
And so
Every time this file is imported, as in layout.jsx, you import the footer. You import footer, right? So when that's being done by the layout, what layout sees is okay, I need to call footer, and then it just asks for footer file. What the footer file does is okay, export default footer. Okay, I need to get rid of the footer. I need to get rid of the footer components. Here's the footer component stuff like that. You got it?
so when you say import footer from that,
Yep.
it just how do you say display it on the what?
It doesn't display. It just gives you the thing that you can use later on, right? So if I wanted to add a second footer, I could. Right? So I could do this. Up, there we go, and I open up. There you go. So you see, I got 2 footers right here because
Yeah,
it just.
so it does display it. It
Yeah,
does
yeah.
display it.
All right. So if you,
Okay.
yeah, exactly. There we go. So yeah. Yep.
And just quick, does it? If you edit the footer component, does it change it in real time or?
Well, no, it doesn't change in real time. It changes once you save.
Okay.
So if I,
You don't have a copyright symbol in your footer. It's very sad.
oh, we can do the copyright symbol. I forgot how to do that. Oops.
I have a Mac, so you can go into the edit tab and there's an emoji and symbols thing, and it brings up a little screen.
Give me one
Oh, no,
second.
yeah, brings up a little screen that lets you.
Uh-huh. All right.
Um,
Oh, that's nice. Copyright Unicode. Oh, it's just one character, so it's not gonna be too hard. Copy this. There it is.
I'm assuming, are you in Linux?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I wonder
Yeah.
if Linux has equivalent.
Has what?
An equivalent to the Mac emoji and symbols screen.
Oh yeah, no, it's not an emoji and symbol screen. It's whoops.
Like I know that's a website, but like
There we go. So what I made myself is just a big file that just gives me all the emojis that I want. So if I wanted poop, pile of poo, right? I can search that. If I wanted, I don't know, hug, looking face like this, I could get that and then copy paste that everywhere in my code.
yeah, except let me show you.
Or very COVID safe.
Very COVID safe. No, I agree. I agree.
Yeah, let me show you what I mean quickly though. you see, there's this little screen you can show
Mhm.
up whenever, and
Oh, Unicode stuff. Oh, that's clean. That's good stuff.
it shows you every single one
That's
all of them.
nice.
And pictographs of it.
Ooh.
I didn't realize that there was a there's actually,
Mahjong.
like all kinds of card games. Yeah, I don't remember. Playing cards,
Hammer and sickle.
dominoes.
Yeah, no, okay, well, no, I don't have that.
I-
On Linux, I just made my own stuff because it's easier that way. It's easier that way, and
every single
yeah, that's nice.
thing. That says a currency symbol.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Let's see if this worked. Right. Oh, I didn't save.
The copyright one is like the C with like a.
Yeah, we just got it, boy. All right, we just got the C with the copyright. That's nice.
Mm.
I don't know how they do it on other sites. Give me a second. Oh, it's copyright. Then they do have the same.
Oh yeah, because it has a special tag thing.
There it is. There we go. So we got it.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, we got the little copyright symbol now. That's nice.
Makes sense.
I'll push this later on to the repo. All right.
Does the normal copyright symbol not work?
No, it works. It's right here.
No, I mean
I just
in
copy.
compiling.
Oh, in compiling, give me one second. I can probably. It's just this is what I found out.
Like, I'm assuming it's not interfering with the.
No,
code,
it
right?
shouldn't. It wouldn't interfere with the code. I agree. Yeah. So it works. Yeah, we can just do it like that. But some computers they might have bad UTF-8 support, so it's just easier to just do the backslash copy stuff like that for
Oh,
other people. But most computers do. It's just the like 1% that you need to be careful of. But you know this should work. This does work.
okay.
All right. So Sammy, Maxim, you got any other questions? Anything to answer?
Oh, I'm good.
No. No. All right. So let's bring you back into the big call with the big people. All right.
With the
Gonna start by relative. Oh, hello.
Hello.
Yeah, so
hello.
I was just showing Romeo and the other members just a few tips on how, for example, to make a navbar. If that, do you have anything you want to say in particular, Maxime?
With the nav bar? No, not really. Well, I see you're using I see you're using HSL, Terrence.
HACL.
Yeah.
Where?
HSL for the background color. Yes. Anyways.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the fuck that is.
No, it's just a different way of calling.
Edit
Background
that.
Yeah,
color.
yeah, yeah.
You
Yeah,
can
you
put
can
RG.
RGB.
You could put RGB.
Everything works.
Yeah.
I think HSL is a better practice though,
Mhm.
but I guess it doesn't really matter. Yeah. So Romeo, you were asking the different positions. So here
Right.
it's more a CSS than a React in particular. First of all, there's relative. So here, if I put this one, wait, maybe I don't know. I just have to reload it each time. So this one, it's relative to the other text and just elements you called. So see here, if I put, for example, a margin on the bottom, a margin bottom, and I don't know, 100 pixels. If I reload, see it appears and behind. It kind of acts dependently with the other things. So if I modify this one, it may modify the position of this one too. Do you get what I mean?
Yes.
Okay. Then there's absolute. Absolute is gonna be, you're going to tell exactly where it is. So for now, as you can see, it's right here. It's the default position, and it covers the text that's right here. That's because it's not relative anymore, so it acts kind of independently from the other things. So for example, I can put left. This is going to determine how much pixels percentage with any other unit to use. I am from the left. For example, I can put 0. Can put, it's not going to change anything because I'm already at 0 on the left. But I can also do the same thing with right. So if I put right 0 for the load. Yep. So see here, now it's at 0 pixels from the right and 0 pixels from the left. So it covers all of this. I can do the same thing with the bottom. I say bottom 0. So put this on here. Yeah, this is at the bottom of the. Just stop real quick. Yeah, this is because I have my margin. To remove this one from the bottom. Reload. So this is at the bottom of the page when you start it. For example, if I had other text and I scrolled and I scrolled, it'll move with the page. It's not going to stay here. Let me just make a quick test right here. Under the class name navbar, not the navbar, JS, just put just a class name to a div right here. So then you just put class name equals just the same margin, and I'm going to put it just under this. Then in the CSS, I'm going to just put a dot margin, and I'm just going to make a margin. Is it just a margin? Just a margin of like 10,000 pixels. So if I reload here, see I can scroll, and if I scroll, this one that had an absolute position, it's going to move as I scroll. You get what I mean by this?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And with position fixed, if I do the same thing but with position fixed, and I reload, then it's always going to be where I tell them to be. Whether I scroll or do just anything. So see here I can put, for example, if I put top 0,